Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Gunpla News, episode 35 for December 2017. It's hard to believe that this year is almost over already. It's really crazy, but as you may have seen on my channel, if you've watched in the past few days, I started work on just snapping up the PG Exia, and so rather than doing another live stream of building that tonight, I wanted to record this video for you guys so we can get this month's episode of Gunpla News out, and then I'll be continuing doing some live streaming of building that and then leading up to the review. So anyway, as usual, we've just got 5 parts for this episode. I've got just a few bits of news first, and then the second part is just related to announcements. And we had just recently the Tamashii Nations show there, so we got a whole lot of figure announcements and stuff like that out of that show. And then some other Gunpla has also been announced. Then some updates, just updates on some stuff that's coming out in the near future. And then a couple of third-party kits I want to talk about, and then a couple of featured kits I'll talk about there at the end. So, as usual, the time codes will be down below. If you want to skip to a particular section that you're more interested in, you can just check the time code there and skip around. But in the meantime, let's get into the news. So here, the first thing is the Naochika Morishita. It's a Japanese illustration artist who does a lot of Gundam illustrations. His artworks compilation book volume 2 is now out for 3,000 yen. I think it just came out today in Japan, so you can get that for 3,000 yen. I'm not sure if they sell that on Hubbylink Japan, but I'm sure other websites that do sell books from Japan that you can get will probably have that for sale. It's cool. I mean, he does some really cool artwork. He has done a lot of artwork that probably you've seen maybe recently for Gundam Versus and things like that, but very recognizable artwork, I think, and really cool style. So if you're into that sort of art book, I think that would be worth picking up. Next thing, a future Gundam Ace magazine is going to have a special weapon included with that. Sometimes they do that where they have special part sets or something like that packed in with the magazine. And so this is the June 2018 issue, so it'll actually be coming out in April. They come out 2 months ahead of time. So this will be out in April, and this will include the parts for making the long-range beam rifle that is used with the HG Gundam FSD. So that's a newly announced Gunpla that I'll be talking more about in the announcements segment, but this is a long beam rifle used for that Gundam. You can use it for whatever, of course, but it looks really cool. I might think about getting that. The design is a little bit odd. I'm not sure if I'm really super into it, but I think it will make a cool accessory, so I definitely will be tempted. The thing is, though, when you buy those magazines, it costs a lot for the shipping because you have to buy the whole magazine with that. And Gundam Ace are pretty thick and quite heavy, so it jacks up the cost of the shipping quite a bit. So that makes it even more expensive. But anyway, next thing is, and this is the last thing of the news here, just the last small point, is that there's a couple new Gundam Base exclusive kits that are just coming out now. Is the HG Petite Guy Gundam Base color version for 540 yen. 540 yen is just a blue and white petite guy with a Gundam Base sticker for it. And then the other thing is the HG Build Fighter is a Bear Guy San tricolor paint version, Gundam Base color version. Anyway, it's just like a RX-78-2 kind of color scheme Bear Guy San you can get there. And that one is 2,000 yen, which I think is the standard price for all the different Bear Guy Sans. So I'm assuming much of the color separation on the chest part is just going to be different stickers placed on that. So this looks like the kind of thing that even if you don't even need an airbrush, but even if you're just painting with just spray cans, you could paint that very easily just by masking that. But if you are a collector, you can get that. All right, let's move into the announcements then, because we do have quite a few to get through. So there was a new line of figures that's coming out. So it's going to be starting, it's called the Metal Structure. And so basically it seems sort of similar to Metal Build, but larger and more complicated. So the first thing that they're showing off here is a new Gundam. It appears to be roughly about 1/60 scale, so probably about the size of a perfect grade. It's quite large, and we don't have a price or release date set for this. Sometime next year this is going to be out, and I assume it's probably going to cost a few $100s. Usually, though, if you're going based on the scale of how much metal builds cost, and because this looks even bigger, I assume this is going to be probably around the $300 range, if not more. It's pretty intense. We haven't seen any full images of it. We've just seen the sample that they had there at the Tamashii Nations show. So we haven't seen it with the fin funnels or anything else attached, or with any weapons and hands or any other sort of details and gimmicks about the figure yet. So for me, it's not very interesting just because I'm sure it's going to be super expensive and I prefer to just build stuff. If there was like a perfect grade new Gundam coming out, I would be a little bit more excited about it, but just this is not really particularly for me, but that'll be out next year, and then it'll be interesting to see what else they do in that line further on down in the future. We also got a Metal Build Strike Gundam announced, and no price or release date set for this either, but at the moment I could only find just this one image, but I know just a few days ago I saw some other images of this, and you can't really tell in this image, but in the other images that I saw, the proportions are really weird, really not so good. Especially in the legs, it's like really weird leg proportions, especially for the Strike. On other mobile suits, I think those proportions might look okay. Anyway, maybe that could be changed, but I kind of doubt it at this point. So anyway, we'll see more about that, again, in the next few months, I'm sure, or sometime maybe beginning of next year. Also, there's a Tamashii Webshop exclusive Robot Damashii Shinanju Final Battle Set. Now, this is something that we actually saw like last year, and then it just kind of like went away. And now it's finally coming back, so I'm just talking about this as an announcement, even though it's not really technically new, because we've seen it before a long time ago. This is going to be finally coming out next year in July for 16,000 yen. Now, one important thing to note about this is that the Shinanju is actually sold separately, so this is just like the top half of the Neo Zeong, and so like the effect parts for that, but then it doesn't actually include the Shinanju, so... it's going to be pretty expensive if you want to get that, and the Shinanju together is going to be well over $200. But considering that's roughly about the same price as just buying the Neo Zeong HGUC kit by itself, some people may want to go for either one or the other. Next thing is a Robot Damashii Ka Signature Gundam Mark II Titans version. This is going to be out in May for 8,500 yen. So 8,500 yen is also quite expensive for this. We haven't seen more details about this, but I'm assuming it's going to be coming with quite a lot of details. I think the last Ka Signature Robot Damashii, I believe, if I remember correctly, was the DJ. And the DJ ended up having like that really huge cannon with it. So I'm assuming that this will probably have some accessories with it, like maybe some of the parts like for like making the Super Gundam backpack or something. I'm not sure exactly, but I assume this will come with something pretty substantial to warrant that pretty high price for this, for just a regular Robot Damashii. This again, we will just have to wait and see some more details. Also, a Robot Damashii Unicorn Gundam Awakening mode, real marking version. So there has been at least one or two other versions of the Robot Damashii Unicorn Gundam, and even in Awakening mode, I know there's at least been one other one. This one is the real marking version, so the markings on this one are a little bit different. This one is going to be out in April for 8,100 yen, so also pretty expensive. This one comes with, we can see now this one does come with quite a lot of accessories. It has like the funnel shields and a stand for that, and then all some other weapons and accessories and things like that all coming with that. Next, a couple new version anime Robot Damashis. The first one is a Robot Damashii Gundam Alex version anime. Would much prefer a 2.0 Master Grade, but this one will be out in the meantime anyway. This is out in April for 5,500 yen. It's just a nice anime version of the Robot Damashii Alex, and it does come with some damage effect parts for it as well, so you can have like the damaged arm and damaged other parts of it to sort of recreate the final scene where it's fighting with the Zaku II FZ. And speaking of which, there is also going to be a Robot Damashii Zaku II FZ version anime coming out as well. This one's coming out the following month in May. We don't have a price set for this one yet, but I'm assuming it's probably going to be about the same, 5,500 yen, most likely. This one also coming with some damaged parts for that, so you can totally recreate like this final battle scene. So those version anime Robot Damashis look really nice, and these are no exception for sure. So if you do like collecting those will be out in the spring of next year. And then there is the Formania X GP01FB, the Gundam Zephyranthes full burn-in. And we don't have a price or release date set for this, but going by how much the new Gundam and the Sazabi Formania X busts were, this one again will probably be very, very expensive, around the $200 or $300 range for this one as well. They're really, really expensive. They're super detailed and they look great for sure. I would much prefer if we actually got like some bootleg company out of China like making a plastic model version of this would be awesome, because just to buy this figure and just kind of have it there, I would feel like that's a lot of money to just plop this thing on my desk or my shelf and look at it. But moving on to some Metal Robot Damashii, we have a couple of announcements here. The Metal Robot Damashii Infinite Justice Gundam is going to be coming out sometime next year. No price or release date set for this yet. as well as the Metal Robot Damashi Ka Signature Zeta Plus C1, also coming out sometime next year, but no other information at this time. Both of those should be pretty nice. And then getting into some smaller stuff, the Mobile Suit Ensemble set number 5 will be out in February for 500 yen each. This set is including the 00 Quanta, the V2 Gundam, the Bedlam, and the Iron Rod from Victory Gundam. And so those come separately. Like the one is, the Iron Rod is like the wheel thing, and you can put the Gedlav in there. I thought that was Gedlav. I think my notes here spell checked that for me, but Gedlav I think is the name of that if I remember correctly. And then there's also one more, is the MS Weapon Set. The MS Weapon Set is basically the Assault Buster parts for the V2 Gundam. There's also another extra sword part in there for the 00 Quanta, but that's mostly just stuff to make the V2 Assault Buster Gundam. Next, we have a second volume of the G-Frame series that has been teased. In the teaser image, we can see that it's very obviously the silhouette of the Zeta Gundam. But in Volume 1, they had 3 mobile suits. They had the Unicorn, the Nu, and the Sazabi. So we can assume that Set 2 will also include 3 different mobile suits. Now, with the Unicorn, the Nu, the Sazabi, and now the Zeta, it seems they're pretty much sticking to like very popular suits from UC timeline. So I don't know what else it might be in this set. It could be very safe to assume possibly Hyakushiki, and then something else, I don't know, could possibly be maybe the O. I don't know if they'll want to stick solely to Zeta, but we'll have to see. While I was in Japan, I did take a look more closely at some displays showing the G-Frame Series 1, the Unicorn, the Nu, and the Sazabi, because I'm really trying to gauge whether I really want to buy a set of that or not, because they look pretty nice, but I'm just not sure if I really want to be that into them. They look basically quite similar to the Assault Kingdom line, but just now they have an inner frame built into them. And the Assault Kingdom line is cool, but I think I kind of just rather prefer to just sticking to like Converge stuff and maybe stand art. But later on down the line, once we see more details about Set 2, maybe there'll be something in there that gets me a lot more excited about it. Or once I see like some review online giving some in-hand feedback about that, maybe they'll guide me one way or the other whether I decide I want to pick up a set of those or not. But anyway, moving on to the Next Edge style, we have the Next Edge style Crossbone Gundam Ghost coming out in May for 4,000 yen. This thing looks really cool, I gotta admit. After the Phantom, I think that just came out. Now we're having the Crossbone Gundam Ghost to come out to kind of complement that, both in that very similar style. Really, really wish that we would get some kits of these, whether they be high grade or master grade or whatever. That would be really cool. These Next Edge style figures do look really awesome. They're really tempting, but I think I'm just going to hold out for the kits. And the last bit of figure announcements here is the Converge Series 10 announced for March for 5,000 yen. That's 5,000 yen for a box of 10 of them, so 500 yen each. This one is including the Gundam Epion, the Shining Gundam, the Gun Cannon, the Gemalk, and the Gazu R and the Gazu L. I got super excited when I saw this announced because I just saw that Gemalk straight away and just was immediately pressing pre-order on this. I really can't wait to get that. That's a really cool design. Definitely one of my favorite designs of like suits from Double Zeta. I really love that Ka signature. I don't know what series. I think it's a Gundam Fixfiguration figure of the Gemalk. I really wish that we would get that in the RE line. HG would be okay too, but I think that would be really awesome for the RE100 line. So hopefully maybe someday in the future. It's pretty big, so I think it would be a good kind of like larger suit for the RE line. Other things in there too are cool as well. The Gundam Epion and the Shining Gundam, I'm looking forward to those as well. The Gun Cannon, not quite as much, as you guys may know if you've watched my channel for a while. The Gun Cannon is not one of my favorite designs, but I'm sure it'll make a nice Converge figure. The nice thing about the Gun Cannon is that it has options for whether you want to have the cannons or the missile pods on the backpack, so you can actually choose which one ever you want. The Gazu L and the Gazu R are also quite interesting. They're not like some of my favorites, but those also should be cool, especially just to complement the Gemalk. Alright, now getting into some Premium Bandai stuff. We had a usual month's fair share of Premium Bandai announcements. So the first thing is related to the Perfect Grade Exia. Is the P Bandai PG Gundam Exia repair parts set. So this is basically, luckily, I'm really happy about the fact that they're selling this as a separate parts set rather than like the full kit. Because then that's just a much cheaper option for people who are interested in getting this. So this is going to be out in March for 4,000 yen. So that's still not like super cheap, but it is a fair amount of new parts in that, and 1/60 scale, so it is going to be quite large, of course. One thing that I think is really cool they did in the promo images, and they sometimes do this, I wish they would do this more often, but they showed like a promo image here, just an image where you can see the new parts are highlighted in green there. So that's really helpful to, if you're not like super familiar with the design and like you're not like a Gundam Exia expert, like I'm not an expert on that, you can clearly see which parts are new and which parts are original in that. So it does come with a fair amount of new parts for that. And I do have to say it does look really nice. I actually saw this on display in Japan as well, the Gundam base, and it does look really cool. I don't think probably not going to get that for mine. I think I'll probably just be pretty happy with just the normal Gundam Exia, but it does look like a pretty cool set, and I'm sure it's just the first of many different Premium Bandai versions and Expo exclusive versions and other different versions of this kit that we're going to see. One other perfect grade thing is the P Bandai Perfect Grade Banshee Norn Final Battle version. So finally we get a Final Battle version of the Banshee Norn to go with the Final Battle version of the Unicorn Gundam. This one is going to be out in February for 22,000 yen. It's quite expensive, of course. Not as expensive as the Final Battle version of the Unicorn Gundam, because this one doesn't really come with any new parts. It's just a different color frame. So the frame is just in that green color, of course. And then this also just comes with a new set of water slides. So the water slides are nice for sure. But for me, I much prefer the kind of orange color of the frame in the Banshee. I think that stands out a lot more. That green, I'm sure when the LEDs are on, it'll look really nice. But especially if the LEDs aren't on, that green frame just is so dark inside the like black armor. It just kind of, it doesn't have like the same effect for me. So I won't be getting this one. I have, as you guys know, plenty of Perfect Grade Unicorns already. But the next thing here is a P Bandai Master Grade GM Sniper Custom, 10th A Jung Custom, coming out in January for 4,000 yen. So 4,000 yen is actually the exact same price as the regular kit, actually. And it kind of makes sense because there's really not a lot new in this kit. For, I think, a lot of us looking at this, it actually took a while to figure out what is actually new about it. The colors look a little bit different, so that's like the most easiest thing to notice. The only other really difference, I guess, is this just comes with a different rifle, and I think that's just about it. This also does come with different markings as well, so it will be nice to get that nice set of water slide markings for this. It has some really cool, interesting logos and things on there. But otherwise, not a whole lot different about this variation of the Gem Sniper Custom. Next thing is a P Bandai Master Grade Gundam Astray Turn Red. And we don't have a price or release date set for this yet that I've seen, but sometime out probably in the beginning of next year. And I would assume around the 6,000 yen mark, probably. This is basically just an Astray Red frame with a few different parts on the body, and then kind of the main difference is the two huge swords on the backpack. So personally not really into that. The V-fin is really cool. It's got like a super huge V-fin. So that's a pretty unique feature that I found interesting about the design, but otherwise not really too interested in that myself. But it's a quite obscure variation of the Astray Red frame. So it makes sense that it's a P Bandai kit, but I won't be getting that one. Next thing though is a P Bandai Master Grade Gundam Hazel Custom Titans color version. This one as well, I think we haven't seen the price or release date set for this as well. I assume the price will be exactly the same as the Hazel Custom, just the regular one that we already got out. And that's because this one doesn't really come with anything new. So of all of the material that they could take out of Advance of Zeta, we just got a recolor of the Hazel Custom. So as much as I love Advance of Zeta, I may just not even buy that, because I think really the only difference that would make it worth buying is the water slides, and even the water slides aren't really that different. So it's kind of like a yay for more Advance of Zeta, but eh. The next thing here is a P Bandai RG Shin Matsunaga's High Mobility Type Zaku II, coming out in January for 3,000 yen. So obviously this is just a recolor of the Johnny Ridden's Zaku II that has just recently come out, that I will not be reviewing, if you're wondering. I just decided I don't really need to. I'm not really too interested in that, to be honest. And so it kind of might go without saying that I'm not too interested in this Shin Matsunaga's custom version either, but it's just recolor to white, basically. And then you'd think it would come with water slide decals, but then I guess you don't know Bandai very well, because this is just coming with stickers, unfortunately. So all those nice, cool, custom Shin Matsunaga logos that you're going to want to be putting on this kit, yeah, those are going to be stickers. Quite disappointing indeed, but that's why you just have to go for spending a little bit more and getting the master grade version and the water slides for that. And the last P Bandai thing here is the P Bandai HGUC Gyan Krieger. This is HGUC apparently. When I saw this, I just assumed it was Build Fighters variation, but apparently it's HGUC. This one is going to be coming out in January for 1,800 yen, and this is actually probably the one that I'm the most excited about these upcoming P Bandai kits. As soon as I saw this, I was really stoked on this design. I really like this variation of the Gyan's design. It just makes it look much more just angular and mechanical, and it's not so curvy. It doesn't have like the round ball shoulders. It has these much more built out shoulders on it. It has this quite interesting looking like shield instead of like that big round weird knight shield. So I like this quite a lot. I've pre-ordered this one. I'm really looking forward to getting that and reviewing it. As you guys may know, that the HGUC Gyan was my pick for the best kit of last year, if I remember correctly, or one of the best. Anyway, it was very high on the list of one of the best kits to come out last year. It's a super, super good high-grade kit, highly recommended. So basically any variation of that is bound to be good as well. So this one I'm really looking forward to. All right, and then finally getting into just the standard release stuff. So we had a new announcement of the next RE100 kit, and it is the gun cannon detector in EFF colors. So there is, of course, another version that is in red, but that one may be coming out as a P Bandai kit. We haven't seen any announcement about that yet, but it's quite likely. But we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, this is the blue color version as seen in the Unicorn Gundam episode there. I think that's episode 4. But yeah, this will be out in February for 4,000 yen. And this one as well, I think when I first heard about that, I just thought like, not really all that excited. But now the more I look at it, I think it does look really cool. And I actually saw this on display in Japan as well, and it looks really, really cool. I actually am quite excited about it now. It's got some cool gimmicks into it as well. How like when it is kneeled down, it has like this big part on the front of the crotch that like kind of goes down, like kind of like folds down to the ground. And just the overall armaments and everything on it look really cool. I really, really like the rifle design on that. It's quite interesting. It's got a really small, odd-shaped head. I'm not really too into that. But otherwise, everything else on it looks pretty awesome. So I'm really looking forward to that. Coming out in February, too. That's my birthday month, in case anyone wants to wish me happy birthday 2 months later. And then some more news related to the Banshee Norn. We have an announcement of a real grade version of the Banshee Norn coming out in February as well for 4,000 yen. This shouldn't really come as too much of a surprise. It was only a matter of time whether we were going to get this as a regular release or a P Bandai release. I will say probably the regular Banshee maybe coming out as a P Bandai kit in the future. I don't know. I mean, I don't have any inside information on that, but I assume we'll get the regular Banshee out at some point as well, whether it's a regular release or P Bandai. Most likely it'll be a P Bandai release like they did with the Perfect Grade. But essentially this is just the same real grade Unicorn Gundam, which was a really, really nice kit. And this one just has the new parts for the Banshee Norn. So new parts for the Armed Armor XC on the backpack and the Armed Armor DE shield. And then probably the new parts, of course, for the revolving launcher on the Beam Magnum, and new head parts and collar part and all of that. So it would be kind of interesting if they ended up doing like a P Bandai RG Unicorn and Banshee Norn Final Battle set, where they released that as a set of like the Unicorn and the Banshee Norn, both with the green Psycho frames, as just a premium Bandai set of the two of them for, I guess that would be like 8,000 yen or something. But anyway, yeah, the RG Unicorn is a really fantastic kit, so I'm sure this one will be as well. Next thing is the HD, the Origin MSD Gundam FSD. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier, talking about the Gundam Ace magazine pack-in rifle for this. But this one, I haven't seen a price or release date set for this either, but I assume probably March, if we're seeing about this at this point, and that's kind of the extent of stuff that we have release dates for here. So FSD apparently stands for Full Scale Development, but anyway, this is just another variation of the Gundam local type, and it has some cool parts added onto it though. I like this variation of the design. I'm interested to see more about this. At this point, we really don't have much to go off of like seeing detailed images of that, but I'll definitely be looking forward to that coming out in the probably spring of next year, early spring anyway. And also the HGUC Blue Destiny Unit 3 exam coming out in March for 1,600 yen. So This one as well I'm actually kind of looking forward to. The Blue Destiny Unit 1 is a really, really nice kit. It's not really personally to my personal taste. So actually I'm also skipping the Unit 2. I won't be reviewing Blue Destiny Unit 2 kit for you guys, but I will definitely be getting the Unit 3. It's probably my favorite of the three designs because it's white. I think I just prefer the color scheme a lot more for one. But this one also comes with more interesting weapons. It comes with the double beam rifle, and as well as just the regular like 8th MS team style beam rifle and machine gun. And then the shield is a little bit different on that one as well. So I am kind of looking forward to that. 1,600 yen is definitely not a bad price for just a really good, solid quality HD kit. And the last couple things here is an HD Build Fighters Build Strike Galaxy Cosmos Gundam coming out in February for 1,800 yen. Not really all that excited about this one, to be honest. Yeah, it's just a different variation of the Build Strike. The Gundam doesn't look that bad, in my personal opinion. It's just like the weapons and accessories. I'm just not really into the rifle or the shield or the backpack, especially. So, I don't know. For me, the backpack is especially, it just looks like you could just like, if you just buy a sheet of plot plate and just cut out some wings and just like kind of file them like to points on the edges, you could just make the wings just look like a bunch of just pieces of plot plate just slapped onto the back of the Gundam. To me, it just doesn't really look that appealing. I'm sure that is appealing for some people, but for my particular aesthetic taste, it's just not really appealing at all. But then they will have that backpack available sold separately as well for the HG Build Custom Galaxy Booster out in February as well for 800 yen. So if you are someone who really particularly does like that backpack, you will be able to get that separately, and you can use that for a variety of other kits, of course, and just slap some plot plate wings onto the back of them. Alright, so let's move on to the updates. So there's a bunch of these, and we'll go through them one by one. The Metal Build GN Sword 2 Blaster is coming out in January for 3,500 yen. This, again, is just the weapon to be used with the Metal Build 00 Gundam. The next thing here is the Metal Build Gundam Astria Type F. Now there's going to be just the regular Type F Astria Gundam, and there's also going to be a P Bandai version that comes with the GN Heavy Weapons set. Now, for the version that the P Bandai version that comes with the Heavy Weapons GN Heavy Weapons set, that's coming out in May for 22,000 yen, but I still haven't seen a price or release date for just the regular Gundam by itself, but I assume it's coming out at the same time in May, but just obviously a less price. So anyway, it looks really cool. I saw this on display in Japan, as with all of this stuff. Sorry, I keep saying that. But just when I was able to look at it in person, it does look really, really good. I've never bought a Metal Build, and I surely won't buy this one, but it does look really, really nice, and I'm a big fan of the kind of Astria design. I definitely prefer that much more than the Exia, so if we do get a perfect grade version of that, I will definitely be pretty interested in getting that. But if you are into the Metal Build stuff, that should be coming out around May of next year. Also, the Metal Build Gundam Exia 10th Anniversary Package version is out in March for 30,000 yen. As I mentioned last month, this is basically just the same thing, but it's a little bit different finish on the Gundam, I think, and just different packaging, of course, different markings, I believe, as well on that. So there's also the Gundam Fixed Figuration Metal Composite Wing Zero Custom EW out in February for 27,000 yen. Also quite expensive, but this does look to be definitely quite like the definitive version of the Wing Zero Custom, just in terms of the design. The design looks absolutely fantastic, but I just wish that was actually coming as like a 2.0 master grade kit or something instead. Also, a Robot Damashi Zaku Mine Layer version anime is out in February for 5,500 yen, just the standard Zaku II space type with just the Mine Layer backpack on that, essentially, and does come with all the different accessories and effect parts and things like that the others in the version anime line do come with. There's also going to be, we had an announcement at some point of a Next Edge style XS Gundam, but I haven't seen any more about that, to be honest, or I missed it. But as far as I know, there is still a Next Edge style XS Gundam coming out at some point in the future. An Armor Girls Project Phaz, so that'd be the Sentinel version of the Full Armor Double Zeta Gundam, coming out in March for 13,500 yen. Mobile Suit Gundam G-Frame, as I mentioned in the announcements, we're getting a Volume 2 of the G-Frame coming out, but Volume 1 is still on the way. That won't be out even until February for 500 yen each. So again, if you missed me talking about this last month's episode, basically you can buy just, well, there's different sets. There's the new Gundam, the Unicorn Gundam, and the Sazabi. And basically there's two different versions of each one. One version has just like all the armor and just a stiff, really simple inner frame. And the other set has a much more dynamic inner frame, and then it just comes with more weapons and accessories and stuff for that. So if you want like the full experience of one of these mobile suits, you have to get kind of both of those sets for each one. So that would make it about 1,000 yen each if you're going to do it like that. And then another thing too, we saw at one point the announcement of an Exceed model Gundam head, but still no news about that. So in the meantime, we'll just wait and see. Also, the Gashapon Senshi Forte Volume 5 is out in February as well for 3,500 yen. Again, for a set of these. This is the DJ, the Hyakushiki, the Bawu mass production type, and the Musha Double Zeta Gundam, and the Destiny Gundam. So a very eclectic mix of mobile suits in that set. And there's also a P Bandai Senshi Forte EX03 Queen Mansa out in February for 3,500 yen. Again, I would definitely recommend getting the Converge version. It looks better and it's a little bit cheaper. Moving into some Mobile Suit Ensemble. There's the Mobile Suit Ensemble V2 Assault Buster Gundam. This is another one that we had an announcement of and saw a prototype of, but haven't really seen anything of that since. So no new information on that at this time. But we have the Mobile Suit Ensemble Gundam TR6 Woundwort and a Dandelion 2 set. This was a premium Bandai set, I should also mention. This one is going to be coming out in January for 7,800 yen. This one, as much as I would love to get a Woundwort and Dandelion 2 set, this one's quite expensive really for what it is, to be honest. And it's like this big, kind of. Not really that big. Not really super detailed. It's got some detail, but yeah, for a P Bandai item and for being like $80 for that, it's quite a lot. Speaking of P Bandai though, there's the P Bandai also, the Mobile Suit Ensemble New Gundam Fin Funnel set coming out in February for 2,100 yen. So this is just like the fin funnels and stand and effect parts and stuff for the Mobile Suit Ensemble New Gundam. And then also the P Bandai Mobile Suit Ensemble EX05 Zanek, very interesting mobile suit design from Victory Gundam out in March for 3,900 yen. So this one, it's coming with like the mobile suit and then like these big like ring effect parts for it, and then this like flying saucer thing that it rides on and all of that. So interesting. All right, and then there is the Converge White Base coming out in March for 20,000 yen. This thing is very large. And I love Converge stuff, but that is just way too much for me. Even if this was the exact same size and everything, and it only cost 2,000 yen, I still probably wouldn't buy it because it's just too big, and I'm just not really that into the design of White Base in general. I would much prefer just to get some nice regular Converge figures. I don't really need this like huge thing, but it's certainly massive. Yeah, it's quite big. But then the aforementioned Gundam Converge EX20 Queen Mansa is out in January, pretty soon, not too long now, for 3,300 yen. So again, this is slightly cheaper than the Senshi Forte version, and in my opinion, it looks a lot better. It's nice. The proportions are nicer, the details are nicer, and all of that. So looking forward to that. And then to go along with that, also the Converge EX21 Full Armor Double Zeta Gundam is going to be coming out the following month in February for 2,300 yen. So at the moment, I think that is the EX21 is the last EX series Converge figure that we know of at the moment. So always looking forward to what the next one will be. EX22, I'm sure will probably be coming out in March, but we don't have the announcement for that yet, so we don't know what it's going to be. But I'm sure it'll be something cool. Then we do have some P Bandai Converge stuff though. There's the P Bandai Converge Core Gundam 00 10th anniversary set coming out in February for 5,500 yen. This is including the Gundam Exia, the Dynamace, the Curios, and the Virtue. And these all have special markings on them. So the Exia, the Dynamace, and the Curios do have just regular release versions of them. But these versions do have special markings of them and special markings on them, I should say. The Virtue, however, has not been previously available, so that will be available as a P Bandai item just to be sold on its own. So there's also going to be the P Bandai Converge Gundam Virtue just sold on its own, coming out in February as well for 2,000 yen just for that. The standalone version of that, though, doesn't have the special markings, so if that is something you care about, then I would recommend just getting the set of them. Moving along, there's the P Bandai Cosmo Fleet Collection Ptolemaios out in January for 1,500 yen. Based on what I've seen of this, it's quite small, very tiny, and also comes with a super tiny little Trans Am Exia included with that as well. Also a P Bandai Exceed model Char's Zaku II head and bust set. So this is not only the Exceed Zaku head, but it also has part of the bust, part of the chest, torso part as well. And it has included light for the mono eye, and it makes some sounds too, apparently. This will be coming out in March for 4,000 yen for that, so quite pricey. Next thing is the P Bandai Bear Guy San PC cushion. Silly thing, they're just kind of recently doing these different types of cushions, pillow things. This one is out in January for 5,800 yen. And then the P Bandai Master Grade Wing Gundam Zero plus Drezwerg rifle parts special coating version. So it's a special coating version of the Master Grade Wing Gundam Zero, and also comes with the Drezwerg parts. So it has all the different parts for that you can attach around the rifle, and it has a separate little stand to make sure you can actually hold that up and all that good stuff. Coming out in January for the whopping price of 10,000 yen. But Bandai can even do better with the P Bandai Master Grade Providence Gundam Special Coating version. This one coming in at 12,000 yen, so even more expensive, $120 at list price, even more for the proxy markup. This one is also coming out in January as well. But it is worth noting that this is not just the standard Master Grade Providence. This is the deluxe version that comes with the effect parts for that, and this one does also come with water slides as well. Water slides actually for the Providence Gundam, so that is good. It's definitely a nice set, but if you don't really care too much about the special coating, that's what you're going to be paying the most for in terms of the price difference of this compared to the standard kit. But on the much more exciting side, we have the P Bandai Master Grade High Mobility Type Gelgoog Uma Lightning Color version, or I should say Uma Lightning Custom version. But this one is coming out in January as well for the much more reasonable price of 5,500 yen. So really looking forward to that. This is just the Master Grade 2.0 Gelgoog with some new parts to make it in the High Mobility type, and some new weapons, and of course the new color scheme, and of course the new waterslide decals for that. So really can't wait. Really hoping that they continue the Ace pilot log with making some more High Mobility type Gelgoogs. Hopefully. Another one that's also really exciting is the P Bandai HGUC Ewok Jagan. This one is out in February for 3,000 yen. A little bit more pricey for just a pretty old base kit. The HGUC Jagan is a little bit old at this point, but this one has quite a few new parts added onto it, so it'll be probably a good amount of a new kit there with this. But I am quite looking forward to that release as well. We'll definitely be getting and reviewing that one for you guys. And then there's the P Bandai HD Iron Blood Orphans Galahorn Arianrad Fleet set. So this one, we're finally getting some more kind of concrete details about this set. This is going to be coming out in February for 6,000 yen. So this is including one Reginlace, and it was I think Enoch is the guy's name, I forget at this point. Color version of that, the Reginlace Julia, and I think the Reginlace Julia is also a little bit different from just the standard release kit. And then there's two grays, and the two grays are the type that have that, what's the name of that weapon anyway, the big weapon thing that they shoot at the end of that. Armored Orphans is totally out of my mind now, so I'm just not even thinking about that. But yeah, it's basically 4 mobile suits and some new parts added in there for that. So for the total price of 6,000 yen, so not bad considering that you get quite a lot of stuff in there to work with. Next thing is the P Bandai HG Atlas Gundam Thunderbolt Bandit Flower version. So this one is coming out in January for 2,400 yen. And this comes with a new shield and new railgun, which the new railgun I really quite like. I like the look of that one quite a bit. The nice thing is that this is also coming with some new waterslide decals as well. So it's not too different from the waterslide decals that you're just available to buy as just standard release decal sets. But this one is a little bit different in terms of what the decals come with. So if you're wanting that, this does seem to be like a pretty nice version of the Atlas Gundam to pick up. A few more P Bandai items here. The HG Build Fighters Rikdo Gyanko and the Command Fumina are both going to be coming out in January for 2,700 yen and 2,500 yen respectively for those. Definitely the superior versions of the two of those. It's a shame that those both came out as P Bandai and it wasn't flipped the other way around. But hey, it is what it is. So if you're a fan of those kits, those ones will be coming out soon enough. And then the last P Bandai item here is the HG Build Fighters GNX 4 or Jinx 4 type Gundam Build Fighters type GBF. So it's just the Gundam Build Fighters version of the Jinx 4. This one is coming out in February for 2,000 yen. This one, I was on the fence whether I wanted to pre-order or not. Because I have the Accelerate Jinx, and then I'm really looking forward to just the Striker Jinx, which is also coming out. So I was on the fence whether I really wanted to get this one as well, but I finally decided to just go for it because they do make a nice set with those together. Not the Accelerate GNX I know is different, but anyway, the set here with this. All right, so finally getting into just a few standard release kits that we have on the way here. The Master Grade GM Command is out in February for 3,600 yen. Again, just a variant of the Master Grade GM Sniper 2, basically. But that should be really nice. And then, who knows, hopefully we'll be getting a Cold Districts type GM probably out in the future. That will very likely be a P Bandai kit, it seems, at this point, but we'll just have to wait and see. And then also the HG, the Origin Action Zaku, Cassilia Zabi, custom version of that. That one's out in January as well for 1,900 yen. Really looking forward to that as well. The HG, the Origin line is a great line of HG kits, and the Action Zaku is a really cool, interesting design. So I'm quite looking forward to that release. And then here as well as the Gundam Build Fighters Striker Jinx. This one is also out in January as well for 2,000 yen. So January and February have some pretty cool kits coming out for sure. A lot of stuff to look forward to. I really like the design of this Striker Jinx. The helmet is, I don't know quite how I feel about that. I might ultimately just kind of go without the helmet personally. But everything else about the design is really interesting. I like that quite a bit. And then the last thing here I'll talk about for just announcements of things coming out is that just remind you guys that there are new revive models of the BB Senshi Sangokuden kits coming out for the 10th anniversary of BB Senshi. So these are all going to be coming out in February, and there's like a few different sets. So rather than like say the names and price of each of these again, I'll just show you guys the pictures of these. These are all coming out in the near future. They're all around between 1,000 and 2,000 yen for these. So have a look through these pictures here. They're all available for pre-order, I'm sure, anywhere where you guys order your Gunpla. So you'll be able to get those coming out in February if you are so inclined. And that is pretty much going to wrap up all of the announcements and stuff. So there's a few more third-party things and features to get through. So let's start off with just a couple of third-party things. So the first thing is a 1/35 scale Shinanju bust from Yihui. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name of that company, but this is the company that did make a unicorn bust. And I didn't really pay too much attention to that because honestly I didn't really like some aspects of the design of that all that much. It did seem to be probably the best bust of a unicorn that we've got. We've got a couple different versions have come out over the past couple of years from like bootleg third-party Chinese companies, bootleg companies out of China. But by all accounts, their version of that bust was quite good. And so I have high hopes about this Shinanju bust as well. It looks really good from what I can see from the pictures so far. As you can see, it comes with some LEDs for that as well as some metal parts for that as well as some water slides, I'm assuming as well, of course. All the proportions and details, everything looks quite nice. So that's kind of the thing with these bust kits. Oftentimes some aspects of the proportions for whatever reason, just get a little bit messed up and just look kind of odd or weird, especially with like the face and the head. I don't really know why they can't seem to make the proportions right on those often, but this one does seem to look pretty good. So I'm definitely looking forward to this one. I know this is coming out supposedly around February, but I think it might end up actually be coming out a little bit further on down the line, because I've seen online that it's said to be coming out in February. But also, I had just heard from Hobby Mission, my sponsor there in China, who hooks me up with this type of third-party kits. I asked them about this, and they said it's coming out a few months later, so I think that makes me think that it's a little bit after February, probably, when this is actually going to be coming out. But it looks great. Personally, I'm not that big of a fan of like the metal detail parts, so I don't really know what I'll end up doing with that. Hopefully I'll just be able to maybe paint those, but we'll have to just see. But I will hopefully be able to get my hands on that and build that and check it out for you guys. And then the only other thing here is not really new. This has kind of been floating around online, I think, for probably a month or two, but I don't think I've talked about it yet. So this is the 1/100 scale Gundam Vidar Basara resin conversion kit from Model Bingo. So this is coming out in January for $90. I'm pretty sure this is not out yet. I don't think so, but like I said, I've seen stuff about it online for a while, but I don't think it's actually released yet as far as I know. But it's just a resin conversion kit for the Gundam Vidar to make it this very stylized look. So it's a very interesting look. It's not really personally to my taste, but I can see probably a lot of people being quite interested in that design and it being quite popular for people who are into that sort of more musha look to the Gundams having that sort of like old Japanese style, like samurai sort of look to that. So it looks great, really super detailed and everything, so that should be a pretty interesting set. $90 is not cheap, but for the quality, it looks quite nice, so that doesn't seem to be too bad. All right, and then the last thing here, let's just talk about a few features. So 4 featured kits this month that I want to talk with you guys about. The first one here is an MG Age 2 Normal Kowloon custom color build by sixx. And as always with all of these, there's links down below to check out the photos in more detail if you want. I suggest you can go down and check those out. But anyway, this is just a like customized version of the Age 2 Normal, and it looks really cool. These obviously gone for the sort of like Katoki Amuro Ray color scheme sort of look for this. So it's got like the Amuro Ray sort of like blue and white asymmetrical design going on with that. So just the painting and the paint scheme on it is really nice. I like the multiple tones of like kind of white and off-white there going on with that. So just the painting on it is really fantastic. Personally, the red decals look good on the white, but the red decals on the blue don't really look as good to me. So I may have gone with something maybe just like red, maybe just like gray decals or something. That's something that just personally I may have done differently, but that's just personal taste about the color of the decals. But anyway, I like how it is styled sort of like the new Gundam, obviously with the wings like stacked up, sort of like the fin funnels of the new Gundam. So you can see definitely where the inspiration for this build was coming from in different areas, but it's just really nicely done, really clean. Again, like I said, the painting is really nice. The decal placement and everything on that, the decals in general are really well done. It's just, like I said, it's just the color I may have done a little bit differently, but otherwise, it's a really cool kit and just really makes me think that I may have to possibly pay more attention to possibly getting another Master Grade Age 2. Not another one, but I don't have a Master Grade Age 2. But it does look really nice, so I might have to look into that in the future. Next thing is an HG D Dimension G Gundam custom build by matmat. So pretty famous, I think, builder from Japan here. So basically what he's done is sort of kit bashed the HG God Gundam and the HG Denial Gundam and made this really cool looking version of the God Gundam. So it looks really great. And I know as all of you guys are just screaming now, all he did was just take some parts of the God Gundam and put them onto the Denial Gundam. So it's a custom Denial Gundam, right? I mean, it's not a God Gundam, so obviously joking there, but anyway, just really nicely done. I really love the colors as well. Of course, for me, the colors just help a lot. And so that really rich white and then just those bright popping colors, he's definitely using some fluorescence mixed in with those colors, I'm sure. Especially in the red and the yellow, you can just tell, like, especially in the red is super bright. The colors look fantastic. The decals, everything on that are just very minimal, very kind of Japanese to this particular style. I think just having those tiny little decals on there look really good. The details are fantastic. Like I said, the colors are super good. It's just very clean and crisp and super fresh. I like this quite a lot. It's a really good idea. It was a really good idea, just the parts that he bashed for the two of that, the parts of the God Gundam that he used and the parts that he didn't use for putting this together to make this custom build. So you can see it compared with the original HG God Gundam, and then you can see like a work in progress image as well, where you can see that where he's gone in and filled in some of the details and things like that with putty, extended the toes a little bit. It's all very interesting and cool to see. I would definitely recommend taking a closer look at the images of this kit because it's a very beautiful kit. Next thing here, this is actually something that I originally first saw on Facebook. Someone had shared that into a group. So this is a 1/100 scale Barbados resin conversion build by Chris Pabz. And it's actually two Barbados that you can see in his photos here. His, I guess, previous version of just the Barbados that he painted out, which I actually quite really like that as well. You can kind of see it in the background of these pictures. Because I really like the purple that he used for that. It looks really nice, the colors that he used for that. But this one we're focusing on the resin conversion build. So it's just taking the Barbados 100 scale Barbados Gundam, and he used this resin conversion set. I'm not actually really familiar with which resin conversion set that is. There's been a couple that I think have come out. I haven't really paid too much attention to them, to be honest. But this one does look really nice. The details and everything, of course, are all just from the resin set. I'm not sure if he went in and added any more extra details. I don't think so, but I could be wrong about that. I did see that he had mentioned online that this was his first time doing a resin conversion kit, so mad props for that. It came out looking really, really good. Again, I love the colors. I really like the use of the fluorescent green in some of the accents and just like filling in some of the little details in the fluorescent green. It's a really unique thing. I don't think I've really seen that too much. And so it does have a lot of little color apps. So the detail, like the markings, the decals, some of them are white, some of them are in red, some of them are in yellow, and you have a lot of these little fluorescent green details added in. And so, like, you would think that would be a little bit too messy, a little bit too busy, but it works really well because it kind of, the whole kit is really detailed. So you have a lot of little bits of color for little details everywhere around on the kit, so I don't really think it's all that distracting or gets away from the design too much. The finished build looks fantastic, so he said he wanted to keep a really clean look for that, and it certainly does look that. So really like this build a lot, and his other Barbados as well, the purple one. It's also really cool. I like that a lot. That one I didn't see any link to any sort of blog or Modelers G page for that. So Chris, if you happen to see this video, or if one of you guys who knows Chris does happen to know if he has a blog or a Facebook page or something, please do send me the link, and I'll put that link down below in the information for this video. The last thing though here is a master grade Zaku II diorama entitled Line, build by PBQJH776. I know I follow this guy on Twitter, but I forget what his Twitter handle is. Maybe try to find out and maybe put that in the information down below as well in the description, but there is at least a link to his blog there. From his blog, there's probably a link to his Twitter page on the blog as well if you want to check that. But this one also just really cool diorama. He has this really particular style that I see him doing in a lot of his builds, doing this adding some really fine details, and a lot of it's like a kind of steampunk in the style it's almost looking like. And especially doing a lot of these thin bars a lot, and especially on the legs or on the skirt armor and things like that. You can see it especially on the skirt armor and on the chest of this build. Also just really nicely painted. Just got that really rusty, dirty look going on really well, and just the diorama is quite interesting. It's just this small little diorama. It's nothing too big or extreme, but one cool little feature that he added to it, it's on the back side of the diorama, he added this little hole there where you can see like a soldier running out, or it's supposed to be like a kind of, I guess, mine shaft or something like that you can see like coming out the other side. It's just a cool little detail to add into that. I think like most people probably wouldn't have thought about that, but it does make it really, really interesting, I think. And just overall, just all the customization and everything. Again, I'll try to get his Twitter, because I see him posting on Twitter all the time. His work in progress images are really cool to see on Twitter, because his building style is quite unique. It definitely looks like very inspired kind of by like sort of older military models, tanks and things like that. But it's interesting, like the style that he applies to his kits. So it's quite cool. I would definitely recommend checking out his blog, looking at some of his other builds, and checking out his Twitter page if I can get that link there for you guys. So that is it for this month's episode of Gunpla News. Those are some cool kits there at the end. I really like those quite a bit. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will be continuing working on the PG Exia. Also got some other kits that I'm working on reviews for you guys, working on the Tokyo Gunpla guide as well. So that I'll be trying to get out to you guys as soon as possible, at least like the first form of that. And so I'm quite busy. So that will be it for this month's episode, guys. Thanks so much for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.